What if I told you this apple contains the power to feed people generation after generation until the end of time? The power is in the seeds, or rather, what the seeds become. There was a time when I had one quiet, desperate, secret dream. Not to start a business, not to speak on stages, not to do anything extraordinary. I just wanted to feel normal again. To me, normal was to get my old life back, to wake up clear-headed, to be able to go one full day without crashing, to have energy left over at the end of the day, to laugh with my kids and enjoy being with them without looking at the clock, wondering how I'd make it through to bedtime. But here's the thing I didn't see at the time. Chasing normal was a dream that needed to die. Because here's what I've come to believe. The dream you're grieving might be the very thing that's making room for something bigger. As Myron Golden says, a seed has to cease being a seed in order to become a tree. I was one of those seeds once, carried along within the apple, safe, secure, and invisible. But one day, my world was shaken. I was tossed to the ground, stepped on, pushed down into the dirt where it was dark, cold, and damp. I started to crack and break open. And I believe now that this breaking, as painful as it was the beginning of becoming. My husband and I went through the most difficult year of our lives, and my health took a sudden, sharp decline. I woke up one morning feeling like I hadn't slept at all. When I stepped out of bed, my feet hurt to walk on. My hands and feet were swollen. Every joint screamed at me. Then came the moment I'll never forget. I got down on the floor to help my son, and when I tried to stand up, the pain was so intense, I wanted to cry. My 6-year-old looked up at me with worried eyes and said, "Mom, are you okay?" I wasn't okay, and I didn't know how to fix it. The doctors told me everything looked normal. When I pushed for more tests and finally got diagnoses, I was told there was nothing to be done. Just rest, drink extra water. What I ate didn't matter. My exhaustion? Try sleeping more. Have you ever felt dismissed, invisible, and desperately alone? Yeah, me too. What was my dream in that moment? I wanted to go back to being a safe, secure seed, to get my old life back. But instead, I was being cracked open. Here's what I didn't understand then. Those difficult, painful moments, that's exactly when the seed starts becoming a tree. The breaking open, if I allowed it, is where the roots begin. So, I made a choice. If I was going to go down into that dirt, I was going to put down roots. And these are the 4 I started with. The first root I grew was learning to attend, to actually listen to my body instead of pushing through. I started a simple journal. Each day I'd write, how do I feel today? What does my body need? What did I eat? It sounds basic, but for someone who'd spent years ignoring every signal, it was revolutionary. Then I began to add, not subtract, not restrict, add. 1 green smoothie, then a nutrient-dense breakfast, then learning about foods that reduced inflammation. I added gentle movement and earlier bedtimes. I added boundaries in relationships, small stacks of good choices, one on top of the other. And here's the hardest root I had to grow. I learned to ask for help. When I was in a flare and doing the dishes looked like a mountain, I asked my family for help so I could rest. I asked doctors for tests to find the root cause of my pain and fatigue. And when I finally got those root causes, I learned to advocate for myself and for natural solutions. I researched, experimented, and I found what actually worked for my body. Not just managing symptoms, but addressing the why. One day, a friend invited me to volunteer for an event. The old me, the seed me, would have said yes instantly, even though I was exhausted. Instead, I paused. I took a breath. And I said, I can't take that on right now, but I'll help you find someone who can. It felt terrifying, but I didn't crash that week, and our friendship didn't end. That's when I realized my roots were growing deep, and slowly, shoots of new life began rising up. I was becoming a tree. Today, I'm healthy and strong. I can get on the floor and play with my son and jump back up. I work, travel, study. But my favorite part is going down into the dark, damp dirt with others, helping them find their roots so their shoots can rise. So maybe you're sitting here today with your own dream, just to feel normal again, to have your life back. But what if God's not calling you back to who you were? What if He's calling you forward to who you were always meant to be? Here's what I know. You weren't meant to stay a seed. You were meant to become a tree. Because sometimes the dream you lose is the one that finally sets you free.